My buddies and I just returned from a day trip to a Paleolithic site located on the shoreline of ancient Pleistocene Lake Manix in the Mojave Desert here in California. And these are a few of the finds that were surface finds. All of them were surface finds. And all of the artifacts I'm sharing with you here today are also made out of rhyolite. But this one here is just a real treasure. This one here was looking at us from the surface, smiling at us as we approached it. And I want to share this with you. This is an excellent Paleo Story Stone face and mammoth effigy, but it's actually a carved face. Now, there's a lot of effigies on the internet that are rocks, that some of them are geofacts. In other words, they don't exhibit any signs of human workmanship. They just have natural looks of faces or possibly of animals, different animals. This one here has actually been worked heavy duty, almost like the Maya would work their stone, their jade, for example. This was carved out big time right there, and this ridge is very prominent, as you can see there. That's all been dug out, and that's all been chipped out right there. You can see that chipped out right there. And these are the two eyes, and then they even chipped this to make the hair here at the top of the head. In addition, they actually ground the surface here like you would see in a mono, a very flat ground surface. They had to do that to parts of the perimeter of this stone to make it into this face image. And then they worked this here, the nose, and then the mouth down here they worked as well. And it's a well-worked stone. It was made in the Paleolithic period, over 11,000 years ago, because this is a Paleo Story Stone face and mammoth effigy. But they really made the emphasis here on the face, looking at us right there. Eye, nose, and mouth. Wow! And then we have a mammoth, the baby mammoth, with its little trunk facing off to the right, with its exaggerated eye right there. And then when we hold it this way, now we have another mature mammoth with its big heavy trunk draping down to the left. We hold it this way, now we have another mature mammoth with its big trunk off to the right, and that's all been ground and pecked there. Mammoth facing off to the right. And then we have another mammoth here that's facing off to the right with the hair tucked above the head. This is an excellent Paleo Story Stone face and mammoth effigy, but it's the face that they really emphasized on this particular effigy. And it's made out of rhyolite. This was face down in the sand, the iron-rich sand, which stained it that orange color. And this was face up, laying on the surface. Then we found this beautiful leaf-shaped paleo point with a little bit of a shouldered stem there, reminiscent of your Lake Mojave style type point. It's a leaf-shaped, I would call pre-Lake Mojave, mainly made with percussion flaking, beautifully flaked and very thin, very nicely done, and a little bit fluted on this side up to about this point right here. And then the rest of it was flaked with shallow flakes, by the way. There's quite a few shallow flakes that make up the rest of that point there. And just a beautiful leaf-shaped point. Beautiful leaf-shaped point. Lake Mojave, pre-Lake Mojave, large percussion flakes. Would have been hafted like in a shaft, in a spear point like that. Right like that. And then we found this beautiful big 5-inch long. This is a prismatic blade spear point. Now, I have a number of prismatic blades found at paleo sites around the perimeter of Pleistocene Lake Manix. In fact, when Dr. Michael Gramley and I visited Harvard Hill, he found a number of prismatic blades there right off the bat, and he was excited about that because he knows that they're associated and typically found very often and very commonly in Paleolithic artifact assemblages. And this been struck here, big strike right there, and then it's been struck here, big strike, and it has a ridge. It's come to a ridge there, from this big strike to this big strike, and another strike here, and some more work up towards the tip. That tip is very pointed, and that thing could do some major damage. I think this was either a defensive dagger or a thrusting spear, and it's also an effigy. This is the eye of the face and the open mouth down below with the pointed shamanistic type cap. There's another eye here as well for a face looking off to the right, probably the older face there. Then we have another face here with an eye and a mouth, but more prominently, I believe, this way. Well, no, the other way was the more prominent way. And so we have, and then we have the mammoth, the mature mammoth, facing off to the right, and the baby mammoth with its little trunk over off to the left. This is a story stone effigy, but a lot of times they converted spear points and knives and scrapers into Paleo Story Stone effigy offerings at the end of the useful life expectancy of the tool or item that they made. You can see it's constricted there in a shouldered type situation as well. The base is shouldered here, like in Lake Mojave. And it's been flaked, shallow flakes all along and through there. So a pretty cool artifact for a prismatic blade, spear point, or defensive dagger. And then these were just really outstanding. You can see that they're practically identical in shape to one another. What they are is the mature mammoth facing right. This is the trunk of the mature mammoth, this eye up here. And this is the eye here, and the trunk coming down to the right. And those were found on the surface. They're large pieces, well flaked, and they're a Paleo Story Stone face and mammoth effigies made out of rhyolite. Now this side is heavily windblown and patinated. So this is patinated a darker color a little bit darker than the original stone. It's kind of a purplish color, dark purplish type of stone here on this side where it's been windblown. And what we have here, they've both been tools. This was kind of an end scraper. They knocked the edge of that blade off of there, but this would have been kind of an end scraper there, as that was no doubt a flatter blade edge there, as this is here. And this has been flaked all around the piece. Here we have the mammoth now. That's the mature mammoth facing off to the left with its trunk over here. The baby mammoth has its little appendage trunk now facing off to the right. We see that image over and over and over again on these face and mammoth effigies. Then when we hold it this way, we have the big hook nose of the older face looking off to the right, and the younger face looking off to the left. And we have the same situation here. This has been wind blown, wind smooth, and you can see it's smooth and dark from being face up on the surface. This side was face down, and it's more porous. It's rhyolite, more porous, and it's been stained orange from the iron in the soil of the ancient lake bed. Very well worked, very well flaked. There's the eye of the mature mammoth facing right. Wow, that is really a good mature mammoth image. And it's practically identical to this big boy here. This is a very large piece. There's the eye of the mammoth there, and its trunk off to the right here with the hair above its head. That is an excellent mammoth, mature mammoth facing off to the right. This is the eye and nose and mouth of a face looking up from the back of this mammoth. So if you hold it that way, now you can see that face. That's very cool too. So the face is this, the eye, the dark inclusion, and the nose over to my left here on the left side, and then the mouth below. That's a nice face there too. And then when we hold it this way, now we have the baby mammoth with its little baby trunk over here off to the left, right here, this little appendage, and its eye right there, looking off to the left now. Oh, look at that wind blown. That's the face up, patinated, heavily patinated side. Now, this blade edge has come to, it's been beveled on both sides. This was a huge scraper of some kind. It could have been a hide scraper or a flesher of some kind, but it's been worked on both sides to a real nice blade edge there. Unbelievable. This is a beautiful, beautiful piece. It's an outstanding effigy, and it was probably a tool at one time for hide scraping or maybe fleshing. And it's been really, really, it's got a blade edge right there all the way across, worked on both sides. Just an outstanding surface find. And I wanted to share these most recent finds with you. And these are, again, made out of rhyolite. And a lot of times people don't look for rhyolite as much as they do agate or petrified wood or jasper or some other more colorful stones. But a good day's trip in the Mojave Desert.